Aussies, going head to head with the Aussies. That's what I drew before, and I said, get him, Kirk. Get him, Kirk. I'll go. There's nothing I love more than seeing those, kangaroos back down.
Come on, let's go.
Welcome to Circles Off, episode number 149, right here, part of the Hammer Betting Network, and presented by Pinnacle Sportsbook. I am Rob Pizzola, flying solo this week. Johnny is out. He stubbed his toe. I hear they're going to have to amputate. So prayers up for Johnny out there. Hopefully he's all good. We'll have him back in the saddle next week. But who can we call on short notice that has absolutely no life? Available at all times. Of course, Uncle K, Joey Knish, stepping up and in.
You know what? MLB season, you need an elite guy out of the pen when the starter gets hurt. You call him in, you bring him in. Thankfully, I haven't. The pitch clock hasn't torn my UCL yet, so I'm good to go. And short notice, anytime, baby. Circles off, ready to go.
The example you gave is the complete wrong example to give, because when the starter gets hurt, they bring in the long reliever, who's usually like the worst remaining pitcher in the bullpen, like just got to eat some innings. It's not, they don't bring in like the closer to pitch, the fourth inning when the starter gets hurt. That's not the way. Well,
I mean, I'm not sure if you've kept up with baseball analytics, but you did the bullpen now. The roles are a little bit, no closer. No, you can bring in whoever you want when you want. High leverage spot. You might bring in your best guy. Listen, you should follow some of this stuff.
There's been some position players pitching in the past couple years as well. It's crazy stuff nowadays in baseball. Every now, like once a month, it happens. Position players in the game. The team's losing like 8-0. They might as well not use a bullpen arm. Let's just have the backup shortstop go out there and throw batting practice. That's what baseball is nowadays. Crazy sport.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it either. What'd you make of March Madness? We're all wrapped up now. You didn't want Purdue to win because you didn't want a big Canadian guy to take it back to Canada.
I didn't want a Canadian guy getting rich, or potentially getting rich off on our land. That's what I didn't want. No, so I was. I will say. I mean, I know this isn't first take here, but it's like UConn being, and not that I'm the biggest college basketball savant, but I think you'd put them up there with maybe the best team of the last 30 years or so, or at least in that conversation, where, I mean, 4 months ago, it was like, anybody can win this year. And then they just completely smoked everybody from the beginning. So, like, what kind of, I mean, we'd have to look back, but like, in terms of cover margin and margin of victory, who has had that kind of, like, are you going back to like Bill Russell and like UCLA or Will Chamberlain, or like, when's the last time somebody had that dominant of a tournament run? I don't even know.
Yeah, I have no idea, and I watch the tournament every year. I remember when we had Alan Boston on when conference tournaments were still happening, he said something, and he's like, well, UConn is like clearly the best team in college basketball. And then I pulled up, T-Rank and Ken Palm. I saw Houston won, UConn too. I'm like, what's this guy talking about? Or he was not wrong. Like, he's not even remotely close. I was at Blue Jays home opener on Monday night, and I missed the first half of the game. I'm leaving the Blue Jays game, just checking the box score for Purdue UConn. I'm like, looks like Purdue played like really good half here. They're losing by 6. Like, this is not going to end close. And that seemed to be the case for both like Purdue and Alabama, Final Four and the finals. Man, that UConn team is good, man. Like, really good.
Yeah. That's because Purdue was. It wasn't your. They weren't last year, the year before. Everybody was counting them out. I know guys that I moved some college basketball for were pretty high on them. And like second half, it was just like winning time. Like, no, we're not going to give them like a bucket. And within 5 minutes of the second half, it's like this game's over. Yeah. And like you're just like, this is probably the second best team in the country, and they just butt checked them with 15 minutes to go, and like game's over. So. Yeah, I don't know where unexpected too of like I don't know. I just didn't see any of like this kind of run coming where, I was a little bit more connected to college basketball there, but it got into like a point where you're like, am I seeing something historic here? Like, when's the next time I'm going to see this kind of run from anybody?
Yep, I'm with you, man. It was just a very impressive tournament for UConn all the way through. I watched the women's final on the weekend as well. I kind of got the same vibes in that game. Like Iowa, I don't remember what it was early on, 10-0, 11-0, something like that. They just hit all the shots. And then once South Carolina came all the way back, it's like, clearly this one team is just better than this other. And kind of felt the same way for me in the women's final as well. But like just two really impressive teams in college basketball this year.
I don't know if they can keep. I'm a women's. I've watched now 3 women's college basketball games, so now I'm a women's college basketball expert, and I've had like legitimate.
Just put it in your Twitter bio, and it's fact.
Yeah, like fierce conversation of who's going to be the better pro, Paige Buckers or Caitlin Clark. Like we went back and forth. There was a group of for an hour, and that's probably the first time I've talked like women's basketball. And like I was dead set on Caitlin Clark being like, no, sir. I've watched these 3 games, and let me tell you, I know the goods when I see it. So, yeah, like an all-time. I don't know if they can keep it going. It feels like one of those things that maybe is just lightning in a bottle, but like an all-time women's college basketball week for the sport. I don't know if it maintains, but just insane rating. When I saw that tweet, that was like, this is the most watched game in the history of like ESPN basketball. And then people are like, no, we had to ask them like 3 times. Like, wasn't there NBA Finals game? They're like, no, this is legit. I was like, oh man, that's I don't know if it's it's a movement.
That's the moment that Clay Travis's head separated from his body at that exact moment.
Not only a women's sport, but on ESPN becomes like the most watched game of all time. I was really like, man, I can't believe I would have loved to have seen someone give him that report.
Totally going to turn heel here and make myself into like the bad guy. This is my commentary on the exact same level of Joey Knishier. I think I probably watched 5 women's basketball games over the course of this tournament. Everyone rooting for Caitlin Clark, obviously. I just developed a dislike for Caitlin Clark because she great player. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the player. Games were highly entertaining. But every time someone on her team would like take a shot and miss, she just like run back down the court, like get me the ball next time. Like one of those where I couldn't handle it myself. I was like, I don't want to root for this, but entertaining sport. I wasn't all in on the Caitlin Clark hype. I was like, I'm gonna be the guy that was like, I was rooting for her to fail because I didn't like her attitude on the court, man. I don't like that stuff.
If you're playing pickup, she's the person who like you don't want to be with. Like I don't want to play, even though they're way better than you. You're not getting any shots up. Like they're as soon as they're getting the ball, they're jacking up a 3 and like go rebound, go play defense. That's all. I hear what you're saying in terms of like basketball purity. I don't like bad body language. That bothers me in any pro sport. I grew up playing sports, like you don't show your teammates up, whatever, someone misses a shot, and it feels like, somebody doesn't see her open for a pass, and she's going to be like, I don't want to say berating, that's not the right word, but clearly it irks her a lot, and I get it. She's a great player running back down the court, but I noticed that in the first game that I watched her, and then I noticed it in the second game, then I noticed it and I'm like, there's something about this that I really am enjoying this game, but I don't want to see her have success. And I think that makes me a piece of shit. It really does. But I'm just speaking honestly and openly here. I don't like that in sports. I like the people who, support their teammates, up their teammates. I like see, what? I just liked Clark seeing like the level of shot making that you usually like. I don't know. There was a level of entertainment that I'm not usually, not to go folkly, that I don't usually find from the women's game. That like watching her games was bringing, and some of these games down the stretch were like, oh, I can actually get into this, even as just from like a sports fan standpoint of like, oh, she's hitting logo 3s or like going off for 5 3s in a row. There was kind of I don't know, almost like a Curry-ish feel to it that you were kind of like, I need to see this spectacle.
I don't mind that at all. I actually enjoy that when like a player is just so amped up, like they're feeling it. It doesn't matter. They're going to shoot from. That's not what bothers me. Like she's an excellent player, and probably like her taking those 3-pointers from like 2 steps over mid-court is better than a lot of players just shooting.
Right. Then, putting it into the post for Iowa Center. Yeah.
So I get it, and I can understand the frustration, but that was my overall opinion of it. The women's tournament was great, honestly, very entertaining, and I hope I hope everything succeeds. I hope women's sports succeed, not because I'm going to be the guy that's like, I'm not the woke guy or whatever, but if we could grow another bunch of sports, the stuff that I can bet on and watch religiously, I'm all for it, man. We can get markets on all this stuff. I will be front row at all these games. Toronto's hockey team, pretty amazing right now. Women's hockey as well. Got to throw them some love.
Is there a Canadian women's hockey league?
Oh, yes.
Oh, a pro Canadian. I didn't even know this existed.
It's go ahead, Zach.
Not Canadian. It's in North American. Yeah.
Got the talk. There's U.S. teams too. I didn't even know. Wow.
Boston, Minnesota, New York.
Okay. What's the N or W?
EWHL.
EWHL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not going to want to get started on the league right away because Toronto is very good, and I know that will pay you.
Yeah, I'm already out. So you thank you for saving me though, because that shouldn't shock me. But yeah, no, that I didn't even know. I didn't even know the PJ for Zach. There was a big debate going on. Haley Van Lith, Paige Buckers, or even there were some Caitlin Clark fans out there. If you had to go out with one of them, who of the three? You see, I know you're a Buckers guy. I can already tell just on the hair. But who of the three are you taking?
HVL. It's HVL.
Oh, me too. Well, then we'll have to go. I was HVL, even though she got absolutely booked by Clark. Yeah. I liked. I was good.
Hey, she needs some consoling. Fan. I'm there. I'll let her know.
I'll put in a word here down here.
I need some consoling too.
Yeah.
I'll explain
I know.
why.
You prepped me for this, and this is if this was me, I'd be despondent.
This was heartbreaking. I lost the Hammer Survivor Pool, which we did amongst full-time employees of the Hammer in a horrible fashion. We each had to pick 2 teams on each day, and the first Thursday of the tournament, I lost both games. I took Kentucky and BYU. Both lost. So I finished in dead last. It makes it so much worse because Alex Moretto won the Hammer Survivor Pool. So I had to pay him today. I saw him. I paid him in person. It was depressing. But whoever was the last place finisher, there was a list that was constructed, I believe by Zach, maybe by someone else. Someone constructed this list that the last place finisher in the pool has to do 2 things on this list of their own choice.
It's like a word, like a list of things that you never want to do. Thank God, if I was in it, number one for me would have been paying Moretto. So I would have shut my number one box of like those people who lose the fantasy league and have to stay at a Waffle House for 24 hours. I'd rather do that before and eat 30 waffles before I paid Moretto cash in person.
Little does he know I wiped my ass with that 100 before I gave it to him. So if it's got a funky smell, Moretto, you know why.
I've often thought, what kind of edge would I need to have to get down a bet for Moretto to then have to pay him? Like if he came to me and was like, I know this game is it fixed or a pass post, we can win unlimited on it. Like would I actually want to have to do this and then him walk around with the sense that he got a winner for me? So yeah, I feel for you here.
I think in that situation, you tell him you got down a ton, and if it wins, you just tell him that you got stiffed on the money or something like that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry, buddy. Yeah, that's no good.
And if it loses, is the full amount. I mean, that's the ultimate scumbag move, but you do that type of stuff to people you don't respect.
And Moretto's in that, yeah, he's in that category. Give me the list here that Zach.
Okay, so 7 items. 1, you wear a rival team's jersey on all Hammer content for a month. That doesn't bother me all that much.
No, it's a month is I can see doing, but a month is I gotta wear the stupid. Would it be like a Canadians for you?
They can get me to do Canadians or Yankees or Giants, Eagles, something like that. But I already owe G-Stack George. I have to dress up as a dolphin for one of the Forward Progress videos next year because the Dolphins beat the Cowboys last year. So I don't know if I want to do like another one of these stupid types of bets, but that one's an easy one. So that's one. Beat Joey Chestnut's hot dog eating record over the course of 3 days. So I believe I'd have to eat 76 hot dogs in 3 days.
That's a lot of dogs.
I don't want to do that, man.
That would be no. I mean, you're talking like 25 and a half dogs per day for
25 and a
days?
third. 25 and a third, but yes.
You'd have to eat 77 to beat him.
77 to beat him. So 25 and 2/3 hot dogs per day. That's disgusting.
I mean, can you take down 8 dogs a meal, 3 meals a day?
So I am ashamed to say that the Blue Jays do loony dogs on Tuesday nights, and I ate 11 at a game last year. That was over the course of 2 hours. I can do this amount of food, but I'd feel disgusted. Like I ate 11 and I wanted to throw myself.
That's a rough one.
Yeah, it's tough. Complete a marathon.
I mean, I would never try. I die. So there would never be complete. I just stroke out somewhere. You'd find me. So yeah, if there's I'm just not. I mean, you're talking like months of training to even have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, complete a marathon, I think, is the absolute nut low on this list. Like healthy activity for a long period of time. No, thank you. Not sure. I mean, I guess it'd be, physiologically possible, but yeah, that's an absolute no. I can't believe we've already gone from having to wear another jersey to run a marathon, and this feels like these are not weighted properly. It's becoming more and more clear that the rival team jersey is definitely one of the ways to go here. Film a GRP style video with your own picks every day for a month on the Hammer HQ. That's in the conversation, especially over dogs and marathon. Yeah. One chip challenge. I've done that already. I'm not doing that again. Let's move that off the list. It sucks.
Right. I was going to say, how did that, did that last for you for how are you feeling the next day?
Honestly, not too bad at all.
Okay.
I was in pretty good shape. I eat a lot of spicy food. This is obviously next level, but there is no more one chip they don't sell that chip in Canada anymore. I believe there was, I don't know the exact story. Someone died from doing this chip.
There was a few deaths.
Allergic reactions, I think.
Oh.
They don't sell that chip anymore, but there's a new one chip. Instead of it being really spicy, it's really salty. And I've watched people do it, and it looks so much worse. Like, I can't picture it being that much worse.
Yeah.
But the reactions these people are having, it's rough, man. I almost want to throw up just watching the reactions. So I'm not doing that. This one you might know more about. Take the SATs with a minimum 1,300 score requirement. I mean, that's just like the marathon. Like you're going to give Joe K an SAT. He's not going to get 1,300. You study for 6 months. 6 months of training for a marathon. I'm probably not finishing 6 months for the SAT. I'm not getting a 1,300. I don't even know what the scoring range is, but so an average. I think average score is like 1060. And the top is 1,600. But we don't do SATs in Canada, so I don't know how hard the test is. I know it's about 2.5 hours. Like, do you study for this, or is it just a general test of knowledge? There's some material that can prep you for it. Here's what I'll say. Joey K never took the SATs. So the SAT is only if you're going to try and get into if you want to go to a university or an out-of-state college. If you're going to community college and you've already been set, you don't need the SAT. So I took I don't think it's around anymore, but it was the ACT back in the day, and that I think they just have the SAT now. I did take the ACT. I don't know. I think it was a perfect was a 35. I think I got a 18 or something. You passed. So, barely. It didn't. It got me into the community college, which I don't think I needed that either. But are the SATs used against you? If you let's say you take the SAT test and you get a bad score, when you apply to university or college, do they get that score no matter what? Or do you like just only send it if you got a good score?
I think it has to be part of the submittal package for some school. It depends on the school too. Some school, your lower level stuff and your feeder schools aren't going to care. But I think if you're trying to get into, Yale or something, you're going to need your SAT along with your 4.7 GPA or something like that.
I don't know what a 1300 is. I feel confident if I'm doing a general test of intelligence. It's going to be arrogant, but I've done these before. Like I was accelerated 1 grade through all of school because I kept doing tests that put me in a certain
out.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that would be a no-brainer for me, honestly. But if it requires studying, I don't want to study. I'm not studying for like 3 weeks for a test.
No,
I'd rather do the marathon.
It might be some things that are where you're regularly doing them in high school, where you're just like whatever your school system is. A 1200 score is between the 71st and the 80th percentile. So a 1300 would make you more like closer to the 80th to 90th percentile.
Yeah.
But it's just like, again, I don't know. I don't even remember, like I never took it, so I don't even know the content, but like if you're doing, there's a bunch of calculus or something on there, it'd be like,
I'm fine with that.
When's the last? Right.
I mean, I don't do calculus every day, but I was good at math. Like, I'm sure I can, okay, so what I'm gathering here is...
I would say I kind of want to know where you'd score now, just kind of want to know what I would score now. Probably get like a 400. But
I might have to do like a Hammer SAT.
Yeah, Hammer SAT challenge.
But like all the results got to get... Everyone's signing that the results get published no matter what. Sure. It's got to happen. All right, I'm going to set that up. That's happening. Right. I think that's riveting content. Riveting.
My goal would be to score higher than the Hitman.
I don't think that'll be a challenge personally. Final one.
Teacher,
phys ed teacher.
I don't know how much of the SATs got dodgeball on it, but you have that down.
There was like those who can't teach, and those who can't teach phys ed. That's like the classic.
Yeah, and then bail to become professional gamblers after a few years. So
I will say,
I always I like to throw in the trolls when he sends me a couple losing bets or we have a bad run that I'm sending it back to Jersey City PPL.
I'll be honest with you. I think actually being a phys ed teacher would be amazing. Like that's a job that I'd love to have.
Outside of the pay.
Well, yeah, but like
pay that we give in this country. But
even then, relative to the money, I think there's like way worse things you could be doing. Like
100%.
Right?
Yeah. I remember, I mean, like when I was in high school, our phys ed teacher, like it was awesome. There was like, he was probably like in his mid 30s. He participated in everything. Like we had individual sports and team sports, 2 different classes, and he taught both of them. So he's like, we were doing racquetball, we were going bowling in the morning. Then you'd have like team sports, like your hockey, your dodgeball, soccer. Like, I agree. That'd be great for, maybe not a job that you age well into, and not a lot of 60-year-old phys ed guys, but as like from 21 to 40, like, oh man, this is a great gig. They're paying me to do this. I'm beating up on a couple, like the girls hockey. I'm, jumping in and scoring, 4 goals there to feel feel good about myself. I don't hate it.
I'm with you. Final item is either doing a beer mile or a burger mile. So 4 beers and 4 laps around a track, or 4 burgers and 4 laps around a track.
I would 100% throw up if with the beer, like where I did this when I was doing playing basketball in high school. Drank a couple like we were doing some conditioning, and it was like there was like a dare, like, you won't drink 2 of these. It was like cherry 7-Up or something. Like drink 2 of them, then we go do conditioning and see if, and like I was like, give it to me. I was like, I never throw up. Like let me do it. Drank the 2 cherry 7-Ups, 3 laps in, was on the side like hurling over. So like I think I think the beer would be easier because I think you would just end up puking.
But you were a bench player, so your cardio wasn't great, right?
It wasn't great
bench.
anyway. So I mean, right? I wasn't used to I was like, I don't use. Yeah. So I was normally usually drinking the 7-Up. I'm watching the game from the bench, but now I actually had to run, so that didn't coach too well. But which one would you do there? The beer or the burger?
I would rather do the beer and do the laps than 4 burgers and laps. When I eat a lot of food and then exercise afterwards, I get I think it's common, people get abdominal cramps. I can't make it around the track after eating like that. 4 beers, 4 laps. It depends on the structure, right? Are you doing 1 beer and then a lap and then another beer and then a lap? Right. If I could do that, I think I could do that no problem.
But see, and you're more of a drinker. If Joey K has 4 real beers, I'm gonna be feeling a lot. I'm gonna be running around. I'm gonna be in about 4 to 6 lanes on that track before I throw up between one of the laps. So that would be. I'd probably do the burger, but I think the beer would be more entertaining.
I think the best case scenario for me is I do rival team jersey in all Hammer content for a month, and I do the beer mile. I think those are personally the best options for me. Because GRP style video with your own picks, I think that entails that you got to do it in a manner where it looks like you're completely losing it, and
right.
writing. I don't want to do that. That's going to be out there.
I mean,
forever.
I could do that pretty easily, but I understand that's not your bag. But also the SAT, I just would be.
Yeah. But
do you get to cross it off if you don't get 1,300?
No, you got to basically keep doing it. So it's 2.5 hours at a time, and you just keep, and if you fail the first time with a 1050,
you're in I gotta go down the list now because I'm not kicking it up 300 points here by next week.
Yeah, but now that we're gonna do the Hammer SATs, I'm gonna cross that off the list anyways.
Are you fucking kidding me?
All right. The theme of today's episode is Twitter. We're going to get into that in a second, but before we do, I want to remind everyone out there that if you're serious about sports betting, you have to check out Pinnacle Sportsbook. I've been betting with Pinnacle for many years. They're absolutely a great sportsbook for players, low margins, great customer service. They show you the limits on every single bet, so you don't have to worry about being limited or that spinning circle where you get referred to trader. Just a solid sportsbook that's been in business for 25 years. So check them out if you're in Canada, and if you're going to sign up, use code HAMMER to do so, as it does support us here on Circles Off. You must be 19 plus, not available in the US, and as always, I can't preach this enough, please play responsibly. I wanted to do this episode for a long time.
Yeah.
About 3 months ago, it was actually Johnny's idea. Not that it was his idea, but he circulated a article, which we're not going to share here. People could find this one and many ones like it very easily, which was the top follows on gambling Twitter.
I think I know what article he's referencing, and it's absolute. It's where it's yes.
I contracted hepatitis B from just reading the list.
Yeah, from reading this list of people. Yes.
So I'm not here to rag on those people. I'm not going to cite the specific article, but what I did immediately after reading that one and almost vomiting as I read it, I then went to Google, like I tend to do, and typed in top gambling Twitter accounts to follow. There's a lot of SEO powerhouses out there who are producing this content, and all these lists suck. I'm just going to call it out. Now, this is my own personal opinion, but most of these lists that I've gone through for the top people to follow on gambling Twitter, I don't follow them, or I follow a very small percentage of them. In fact, I would argue that you should probably just block and mute most of these people because they're going to get you nowhere in life. That's what I would suggest. So what we're going to do for today's episode is I'm going to give out my favorite, I don't want to say my favorite, the top follows on gambling Twitter according to a set of criteria that I'm going to outline. I'm then going to ask Uncle K here to review, see if there's any agreements or disagreements in these certain subsections. And then at the end, because Uncle K is known around gambling Twitter as being a scumbag, we're going to allow him to give his worst follows. people that you should probably avoid at all costs.
And these are not, so I said that I wasn't going to do the cliche. Like, there's the ones that you could come off and, like rip off a couple of like the touts. So I'm going to go a little bit like outside the box with some of the, maybe like people who you wouldn't think it would be on the worst follows list. Because I didn't just want to do the generic, like, oh, don't follow the Philly Godfather, he's a scammer. Like, yeah, I mean, we could sit there for an hour and read one of those follow lists you're just talking about people you don't follow. So I got a couple of some mutuals as well that we know that I'm gonna go hit on for being poor follows.
Yeah, it's probably a good starting point is just to do the Google search of the best accounts. When you see those lists, unless they have me on them, by the way, if they do have me on them, then that's fine. That's totally okay. But anyone else, probably just mute all those down the list. Never encounter them. Uncle K will give you some little hidden gems, I guess, that are probably not worth it. I'll describe the process here. So this is very loaded. Because you say like top follows on gambling Twitter. What I value is what different than Kanish is going to value. It's it's different than what Johnny would have valued. It's different than what Zach would have. Everyone's going to have their own things that they value. So I'm going to go through the criteria that I think are important. Now, not every single person on this list is going to meet every single piece of this criteria. In fact, I'm not sure every single one of them, a single one of them does. But for me, I'm looking for expertise and credibility. So people who have proven track records in the betting space, in the gambling industry, whatever. Some sort of credibility around them. And that's based off of my own personal experiences and people that I know. So that's one thing that's big. Agreed, Kanish?
Yeah.
Okay. The quality of any content that they put out, or just the general quality of the tweets. Do they have good analysis? Do they have good tips? Do they offer up good strategies? You basically, yeah, this is just a summary of quality. Simple as that. Transparency and honesty. Not necessarily that people are recapping their records every day, but people who are not misleading, or they're not, whether that's intentional or unintentional. Because there's people who are just scammers, like Kanish said, like, your Philly Godfather types. Then there's people that they don't actually know that they're misleading, but they are. They just don't know anything on that.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Like a lot. People that, yes, or like think they have figured it out, but actually haven't, or like, yeah, a high volume of that type of account, that the gambler's fallacy account, we could call them.
Agreed. Next, I'm looking for engagement and interaction. Not necessarily the numbers on their tweets, not how many people view them, but do they engage with their followers? Do they respond to questions? Do they participate in discussions? Do they provide personalized advice? Basically, how they interact with the community. Next, worth a little bit less, but I like a little bit of innovation and uniqueness as well. We'll get to some of those accounts afterwards, but somebody that brings something fresh to the table, something that's a little bit different than what everyone else is doing out there. Ethical standards, important to me, and then consistency as well. In terms of, well, this person's not going to disappear and not tweet for 6 months after you go and follow them. Like, they're maintaining some sort of consistent posting schedule. They regularly update their followers. They respond to tweets, stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm going off of here. Expertise and credibility, quality of content, transparency and honesty, engagement, innovation/uniqueness, their ethical standards, and consistency. Sounds like a decent enough criteria?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think, and you gave me a little preview of the list here, and I agree with, I think it's a list that's not, usually most of those like best follow accounts on gambling Twitter are just like content churning accounts, which is you're like, like hashtag picks accounts, or people who are like, I think you've got a criteria that people who actually like, if you want to get into like more than just the surface level of sports betting, a lot of these people kind of fit that criteria.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because like, to me, those picks churning accounts, the content churning accounts, like frankly, you may be able to find some diamonds in the rough there. People who actually win at betting, and they update every day, and they post their records, and they, whatever, they track on BetStamp, or you may be able to find that. But it's like a needle in a haystack, honestly, 100%. Nowadays. The same with the 100%. Content. I'm glad people watch this content. I firmly believe in what we're doing. Honestly, 99% of the content out there, you're just better off doing anything else with your life. Anything else. So, like, this is not the list you're going to get. It's not the ones that are pumping out 48 videos a day with their pick of the day and the analysis on it and whatever. This is more so meeting the criteria that I have outlined. I'm going to lose.
There's a good chance, even if you don't realize it, that list of people or those people are not helping you in any way whatsoever in terms of trying to either win at betting or get more knowledgeable in the space.
Exactly. I'm going to lose some friends over this. I did consider it because I went through all the people that I followed, and I originally started this list at like a couple hundred and then slowly narrowed it down based off of the criteria, and I summed them into parts. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go through different categories, and I'm going to list out the names. This is tough for people to follow if you're listening, but do your best. What we will do after the fact is we're going to tweet out this list in some format. If you're watching on YouTube, first and foremost, smash that like button down below. But secondly, we're going to include this in the episode description as well. Links to everybody that we're outlining here. You'll also see it up on screen as we go. So you'll see the names. You can pause it, follow people, tell me I'm an idiot, do whatever you got to do. And for those of you out there that agree, disagree, let me know down in the comments below. If there's someone you think I missed, put it down in the comments below. I'll respond to them after the fact as well. Tell you whether or not I agree or whether or not I think you're high or something like that. The essentials. I'm calling this list the essentials. Harala Bob. Bob Vulgaris. One of the most successful bettors around. Doesn't tweet so much about sports betting now, but I think that there's actually a lot of value in following the best people at their craft who put a lot of stuff out there. Bob on the list.
My quick analysis has me blocked, so I can't see his tweets anymore. But I would have agreed had he not had he been blocked. I trolled him over like a Porzingis tweet a while ago, and that got me the block hammer. I also think he thought I like Bob's one of those people that is around on Twitter and pretty engaged. Like even he can get in the weeds. Like I think he thought I was connected to somebody through something because he had like made a Joey Potatoes like tweet before about like getting down. So yeah, I fired some shots at Bob in the years past, but I agree. Before he took the job with the Mavs, he might have been like one of the top 3 follows on Twitter for like betting space. He had to go quiet since he's kind of got back on. It's still good, but it's maybe not the same. But there was a time where it was like he honestly was at one point my favorite account. So yeah, unfortunately we've had a Twitter falling out, but I agree he is a essential follow.
All right. Kanish blocked by him, but still advocates for him. That's how you know it's a good follow. That's how you know. By the way, I'm saying these in numbers, but maybe I'll just get away from that. This is not in an order. I'm not ranking people, just so you know. Abnormally Dissed. Still the highest listened to episode we've ever had in Circles Off history. Probably because it was audio only at the time and we weren't on YouTube yet. But Abnormally Dissed. The challenge, if you're going to go and look at his account now, is that he constantly deletes his tweet history pretty regularly, sometimes deactivates his account. He's right in the midst of gambling Twitter. I don't know much about him. I just think he's a very alluring personality. He's really into motorsports. And he tweets out a lot of stuff that could help you if you're motorsports betting. Like, he does a lot of work for you that you don't have to do. Practice times, qualifying times, whatever. And his own personal handicaps on things. I think he's a very solid follow. AD, as he's known, Kanish, Abnormally Dissed.
Fascinating persona. One of the best. Would be my number 2 on all-time Circles Off ranking episodes. Whatever episodes I'm on would be 1, 2, 3, whatever. But the number 2 on the episodes that I wasn't on. his story about like going off into the woods to be able to get down at Pinnacle, and then also him going. He's one of those you don't ever want to get onto his wrong side, because he seems like the type of person that like has like a nonstop vengeance. Him and Elihu have like this never-ending bash where Ed Miller and them started that deck prism company, and he went the first night, drove to Colorado at Circa, and was like arbing them first Pinnacle to death for the first night, where they like didn't have it all together, and he just went there and absolutely crushed them. Just one of my favorite. The story no longer exists on Twitter because like you said, he deletes it. But one of my just all time just troll retribution psychotic episode stories I've ever seen. But yeah, great data as well. If you're following his stuff, he puts out some of the best data you'll get on some of the niche sports.
Yeah, and I do want to remind people, as you know, Kanish is telling stories about people. This is not a testament to people's character out there. This is purely whether or not I think they're a good follow. I do think some of the abnormally diss stuff with Elihu is maybe like a little bit confrontational at times, but that doesn't mean that I don't think he's a good follow altogether. We'll put the deep dive crew together here, both of them. Yeah.
No, I didn't want you to. You said I was going to say you just had Andy on the sheet, and I was going to say Andy, but no whale.
It was a clear mishap on by me here. The list is not complete without both. At whale _capper, at Andy MSFW, Andy Molitor, both of them the deep dive crew. I think anyone who consumes content in the betting space, especially on the sharper side, I don't know what else to say about the guys. I just think you should give them both a follow. They're highly entertaining, really good dudes. Like I said, I wasn't going to, this isn't a testament of character, this list. These two are high class, high character individuals. I don't know what else to add here, Kanish.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they've been around for a while. They put out some of the, I remember their, and I always give them credit for this, their NFL alternate season win total episode, one of the better podcast episodes. I think it like changed the market for the going forward, but it was like one of those edges that they literally like were the originators of in Discovery, and put that out, and just the thought process there. So yeah, they've had some good. I know Drew. You know, Drew's kind of career wise. They've done a little bit of separate stuff career wise going forward, so it's not as connected as more, but still quality follows for sure. And I agree with you from a character standpoint of you've really never seen them stoop to the lows of that of the maybe that either of us have gone to a few times in terms of it. So yeah, definitely good character guys there.
Yeah, we go from high class to low class. Spanky is next on the list. At Spanky on Twitter. Spanky, listen, one of the most successful bettors on the planet. He what I really appreciate about his account is that he does have his own product in Spank Odds, but he doesn't deal with any sponsorships or anything along those lines. He doesn't overly promote his product, which is actually very important for me in this list as well, but he just doesn't give a shit. He'll say whatever comes to his mind, and I really appreciate that about any bettor who's willing to put themselves out there, regardless of what the repercussions are going to be. So Spanky, to me, has to be on the list.
Unfiltered for sure. We've had our couple of disagreements over the years. In just like, I will say the original, this is going to be very Haralabob of like, I thought the original Spanky coming on to Twitter was the best when he was first out and posting some of the videos and really trying to churn it up. He's obviously, it's changed a little direction over the year, but I agree in terms of a central follow and someone who, again, does, if you want to get into the meeting people in the space, obviously puts on the big, kind of, so I would agree with this list on an essential, even if we don't see eye to eye on a number of topics.
Yep. And by the way, I'm not telling Kanish to agree with me on these. This is coming. He will disagree if he disagrees.
We've got a couple coming up that I'm gonna, be more disagree on. I think your top five there, I agree.
All right, let's get into number 6 on the essentials. Adam Chernoff at Adam Chernoff. So Adam is now with Right Angle Sports. His account has changed a little bit over the years. He's been involved in different types of betting, whether that's NFL, PGA, and whatever. Here's one of the arguments I'll make for people who are going to be like, Adam has a subsection of gambling Twitter that really doesn't like him, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. And Adam's been very outspoken about his past as well, which was a long time ago, some things that would bring his name into a negative light. But overall, I think he provides a lot of value to bettors in the space. And on top of that, I do think he keeps it real nowadays, as pretty honest. And he's very good source at filtering info or news that I would have to dig a lot deeper into. I think that's where he provides a ton of value. So I'm going to go Adam Chernoff. I think he's an essential nowadays in the space.
There was a point during COVID where I said to myself, if I see one more Chernoff golf swing, I'm just going to end it. If I see one more video of him in a Canadian field talking about his new swing, I just can't do it. I'm like cooped up in the house, worried about getting the Rona. He's out in some random, talking about if I hit my 5-iron like this. And I said, this is good. This is the last straw for me. Just Lord, if you're up there, take me now, please. I would agree with you that the current rev of Chernoff stuff, it's been a little different since he went to RAS, but does have like legitimately good info, and as you're saying, like stuff that you probably would have had to dig a lot harder for. And he did a few things over there. I agree. It's not the peak of it. The Chernoff account, I thought before he joined RAS was probably his, like when he was having the best stuff and it was just all released. But I agree. Essential follow also does those. He's their like face guy for the release show stuff. And say whatever you want about RAS's recent form, the last few months, what you think of them as a company. If you want some picks with CLV or Steam Chase or something, the release show is still going to get you a good number. So you can put them on there. That doesn't cost anything. So, yeah, I don't mind having him on the list, even if I think his at least his best stuff was probably right before he joined RAS.
Okay. I have a feeling maybe
and his worst stuff was during when the world was shut down. I don't care if he didn't pay somebody 20 years ago. I care that I had to watch his backswing 800 times during when the worst time in world history.
Every morning at like 6 a.m. somehow, I don't know what I didn't even know courses open as early as he's playing. It's just a picture of his bag on a course with like a Tim Hortons iced coffee on the ground like every single day, just advocating for it. And now he's off the Tim Hortons recently. He's recently tweeted.
Oh, yeah?
So I don't know what's happened. Maybe they changed the bean, the brew. I don't know what's going on. Chernoff's taste buds changing, but man was once a big Tim Hortons advocate, and now he's not. He's joining Fez on the Dunkin' train.
Oh, you can get out of here with that. That's no. Take him off the list. He's off. No longer on the essentials. But I give you at least it's worth the essential follow for sure.
All right. Maybe we diverge here. Rufus
boy.
Peabody at Rufus Peabody. I'll say he also has a lot of the golf tweets that will make the average person want to throw themselves out their own window. Listen, I appreciate that Rufus has a brother that he loves, Tom, and they do their little Peabody Cup every year where they compete against each other in golf. That's the nut low of tweets, in my opinion, from the Rufus account. But
I've got some nut lowers. I
want to say why he's on the list first and foremost. He's a very successful bettor who occasionally, not always, not rarely, will actually put out a lot of good information, and I will say sometimes unknowingly. I think there's part of him where he likes to consume a lot of other stuff on Twitter, and if he sees something that he disagrees with, he'll make it known without kind of realizing that he is putting an edge out there or should be concealing a little bit more. So I think you can learn from a lot of successful bettors who've done it for a long time. They still maintain their edge, are still winning, and maybe not everything here is going to be for everyone, but there's enough here that I think can lead you down a solid path. But Kanish looks like he's just waiting to come in here.
Listen, I don't, in terms of like Rufus the person, I don't mind him, at all. I agree with you from the level of success he's had. Absolutely legitimate, historical better betting group that he has going right now. I don't have a problem he's just one of those guys. Like, I don't find, unlike the first 6 people of their tweets, where I would either sometimes find them entertaining or useful or educated. It's a rare day that I'm like, oh, that was a great Rufus tweet. And I would tell you, just like the Chernoff golf, when Rufus was going through his, I think, breakup or whatever with, I don't know, his ex,
personal issues. Yeah, personal issues.
Yeah, and he was having a lot. It got a little zen. It got a little out there for a while. I'm going to get, and listen, everybody goes through their own thing. Some people like to, put it, maybe that's a coping mechanism. You help trying to, feel out there. But also sometimes him and maybe some of the BTP is carrying over into my review here, because
bet the process, for people that don't know, bet the process Rufus's podcast.
Where I had a BTP breaking point at some point where I couldn't take it anymore. And listen, I'm sure there's people that feel that same way about Joey K. I agree. Like, you've got to be the right taste here. I don't have a problem being with On the Essential based on his history, the content of his tweets, though. He wouldn't be on my essentials list.
Okay, fair enough. We will end the essentials list with. I said I wasn't going to number the people earlier. This follow is numero uno on the list, without a doubt in my mind. At Jeffrey Benson 12, Jeff Benson, operations manager at Circa. I don't even know where to start with how good his account is. Obviously, there's a lot of promotional items for the sportsbook that he works for. Totally understandable. Coming straight from the heart. It's not like he's selling people, but he encompasses exactly what I am looking for in a Twitter follow, keeping it real with the audience, helping educate people out there, saying the things that need to be said that other people don't want to say. Jeff Benson, essential Twitter follow.
100% agree. And this isn't just a Kool-Aid Circa everything. I agree. Like, he had a tweet the other day about some guy when they tweeted out they had like a UConn or Purdue to win the national title prop. And he said he wanted, in the response, said he wanted $3.3 million on no, and responds to the guy after the game was final that our credit department needs it paid within 30 days. That's the level of troll. And he doesn't mind mixing it up. I know he always goes back and forth with that the point sucks guy who always drives him crazy. So not afraid to mix it up. Also, if you're someone who uses the book, extremely helpful information in terms of here's when we're releasing X, Y, and Z at Circa. No other, where a lot of books, it just pops up on the screen, or you have no idea when they're releasing, future win total. Even the big, the FanDuels and the draft don't do this, just pops up. I don't know why people haven't thought to replicate what Jeff does in terms of hey, we're doing this on, we're doing regular season win totals on, July 31st, and then futures on July or August 2nd. I can't believe no one else is doing that. So it's I know Circa is only available in a few states, but if you bet there or you want to use their lines to help, because the market kind of trends that way, extremely helpful, date and time information that I'm shocked other sports books, a lot of them have not replicated.
All right. That's the essentials list that I have. Do you think I left anyone off of the essentials list? I probably have, right? I'm certain you can make this longer, but those are my go-to accounts, in my opinion. It should be anyone's go-to accounts.
I it's a little bit more of a niche essentials list that doesn't have to include your mass follow, your multi-100,000 follower account. I think it's a good list of and I'm gonna have a guy who should have been on this list at one point, who now has fallen off onto the Joey K anti list. So that'll be a teaser to come up that I would have had on the essentials for a long point of his career that has deservedly fallen off.
Okay. I'm going to move into the category of smart people you will probably learn something from.
This number one is
no-brainer.
No-brainer.
What I mean, I think if we polled our user base for the best episode of Circles Off that we have ever done, I think
number one.
I think he would win. His name's Matthew Trenhale, formerly of Pinnacle, but you can follow him on Twitter at Matthew_Trench. Everything that Matthew tweets has a certain level of sophistication to it, but just consume what this guy puts out there and you will be a smarter, better. I don't know what else to say. It's other podcasts he's done in the past. Every single thing that Matthew Trenhale
doesn't do a bad. He's able, and there are certain people that have this specific skill set of being able to explain complicated things in a very well understood manner. And he has that ability. Also has kind of the accent, good to listen to in that, but like he can break down something that is inherently difficult to explain and make it in a consumable fashion for someone like a 400 SAT guy like Joey K can grasp what he's talking about when he's talking about sophisticated gambling markets. And I agree with you that if you haven't listened to the Circles Off, I've listened to that Circles Off Trenhale episode at least a half dozen times. I go back for it every once in a while and just listen to it to kind of refresh. So I would agree with you. Absolutely a must follow.
Zach, are we able?
And now
to...
he's also more active now that he's no longer with Pinnacle. I think he's doing. I actually talked to him the other day. He's doing a little of his own consulting work, kind of niche consulting work on the side, and is more active on Twitter now that he doesn't have he can tweet a little bit more freely now.
Okay, I'm glad you dropped that you're on friend basis with Trenhale. You just call him up whenever you want. Give him a ring.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I gave him such a glowing review, because he responds to my DMs.
Mm-hmm. Watch your fucking toes with those name drops.
Yeah,
this was me trying to get into his DMs to try and start moving some stuff for him, but he told me he was doing the consulting stuff. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was just that was a nice way of saying that you're not cut out to move his stuff. You just wanted to be a nice.
Yeah, it's I'm doing some consulting.
Consulting. You could say that he had consulted for sportsbooks. I won't say that on this episode, but you could say that about Matt Trenhale. Do we have the technology, Zach? If I point up in like a corner of the screen to put that video of I seen this on YouTube before. We must be able to do it. Yeah. All right, for that video of Matt Trenhale, which we recorded a long time ago.
You're pointing too high, but yeah.
Okay, I got to point down here?
Yeah.
This is where I'm pointing.
Yeah.
You can just click that right up there.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. It's in there now. The beauty of post-production. Okay, number 2. He was recently on episode number 139, Mr. Limited. Mr. L-I-I Mided on Twitter if you're going to follow him. Good episode. Enjoyed recording with him. Really educational account. Honestly, if he has an ulterior motive, I haven't found it yet, because he's just putting out information based off of his experiences in betting out there. I think that's great for anyone out there.
Should have listened to the episode before before we jumped on here to comment to it. Haven't gotten to that one in the queue yet, but I'm sure it's great. His Twitter account, I agree with you, has some quality information. I don't know I probably would know more if I had actually listened to it, of like his background in that or what he does, which I'm sure was covered on that episode. But I agree with you from a smart people standpoint. He does kind of do a number of threads and seems to, have a good idea of what he's talking about and kind of, helping people out there with some of the process stuff.
Okay. Maybe a controversial name coming up here.
I saw this one on the list.
At Plus EV Analytics, a friend of Circles Off, has appeared in studio with us a few times. Now, I'll preface this by saying I think that Plus EV Analytics opinion on the crypto space, you might as well send this guy, put him on a rocket ship, send him straight to the sun, because he has no idea what he's talking about. You see a crypto tweet from this guy, it's time to log off Twitter for the day, whatever. I do think he says some things which I strongly disagree with, but he's entitled to his opinion. However, for accounts that you will learn something from a quantitative side of things, he teaches a lot of things that are very beneficial to the average person. He does put out bets out there every now and then on weird stuff like alternate win totals and whatever, which I think are great bets for anyone who just wanted to tail those as well. But I think ultimately there's enough here with this account where it's worth a follow, even though you're going to want to cut yourself at approximately 2 or 3 tweets a week because you disagree with them so much. Agree or disagree?
The first thing I'll say is the skill that Trenhall has about taking the extremely complex thing and putting it into a package where people understand it. The exact opposite is true for Plus EV, because I don't know what the hell he's talking about most of the time with some linear distribution of that. I don't know how he, I would, and again, so you might if you're a very, quantitative or willing to learn, like he is a teacher through and through, you know what I'm saying? Like he is a guy who's willing to teach people, teaches some course on the analytic, like has no problem, would be the type of person that would respond to DMs with modeling, like just a quant nerd over and over. The thing that is, yes, he does have some opinions that make me want to jump off a roof. He does have that, like he'd be that guy who's like AP clipping coupons to save a buck here, where as someone, and I remember Trent Hale on your pod talking about like the ruthlessness of betting. He doesn't have that. He's like the guy he spoke of like I love building models and doing this thing. And if I win some money betting, that's a nice plus. Where he doesn't have, like, that's where we kind of jam heads, is like he doesn't mind throwing out an ad. I'll tell you, when Michigan first legalized in the state, it was when the alternate season win totals were still a big edge. Yeah, he sent me some win totals. I got down for him. He absolutely crushed them. So I'll give him some credit. And so this is where some people you're going to come across in life who may come something. You can find a way to kind of shake hands there and work together in some fashion. But yes, he does say things that sometimes make me jump off a roof. The things he says, I can't understand what he's talking about. But I think for the right type of person, he is a good resource and someone who'd be willing, where some of the people we've mentioned I would not be willing to really he's definitely someone to be willing to help you if you want to put in the effort.
100%. That's a great point at the end of the day as well. Very receptive to feedback from other people, will respond to other people as well. I think that's important, especially if you're trying to learn something from someone. Next on the list, Austin Mock, at amock419 on Twitter. I'll give a little bit of background here. Austin works for The Athletic, does some sports modeling. I've worked directly with Austin on stuff before, so this is very much a biased take by me, but I think he is a banner stand-up guy with a great account to follow. Deserves way more than 3,000 followers on Twitter. He is a huge sports fan through and through, but approaches everything with a unbiased lens, I would say. Puts a ton of stuff out there regularly. Great articles for The Athletic as well. And I don't want to this is an athletic sales pitch. But for people who are a little bit under the radar that you probably don't know about right now, I think Austin's a great follow.
Here's the problem with his tweets are too milk toast. It's it's like paint dry. You're too vanilla. He's like guy who and I've actually trolled you about this sometimes Sundays when you're firing him off of like, what a touchdown throw there or something. Like, he only has 3,000 followers because you gotta he doesn't put enough his content for The Athletic, especially if you're in the data and some of the analytic stuff he does. No, I'm shocked he still only has 3,000 followers too, because especially working for The Athletic, because he does some good stuff for them. I think he's a person who you would follow to then click on his links to click on his content. His actual tweet content, I got to tell you, it's a little lacking for me. It's not something. I'm not. There's really. It's just too very. It seems like an AI model that doesn't have enough humor built into it here. So, but smart guy, good guy, and also I think his stuff for The Athletic is very good.
Fair enough. I would actually agree on the vanilla-ness of the account as a whole. They are very straight to the point, vanilla. I think about every tweet I write and like, how can I put some comedic spin on this somehow? I don't think he does that. I don't think Austin's the type of guy that's going to do that. Final account, at Professor042. Professor Chuck Finley. If that rings a bell to anyone who's following Circles Off, it's got a very small amount of followers, under 700 right now.
I was going to tell you, I have absolutely no idea who this is.
Okay.
And I waited to start to just look at it until we were joining here, and just to make sure, I've never seen this account in my entire life.
Less than 1,000 people have. Professor Chuck Finley, we put out a request to our listeners many, many episodes ago, about creating a closing line value flowchart. There was that guy, Shane Trail, if you're familiar with him, Kanish, out there, who made a tweet about how like CLV is like the most useless thing. It's just a bunch of people wanting to tap themselves on the back. Professor Chuck Finley here put out a flowchart of when CLV matters and when it doesn't matter, and whether or not you should, focus on stuff like that. It does a lot of stuff in the space that kind of really goes under the radar here, with a lot of visuals to accompany it, which I think is very important, especially when you're trying to explain. I mean, this guy's a sports analyst. He's an engineer by trade. Clearly very sophisticated. You're trying to explain complicated concepts to, how do I say it? A more average IQ, average sports bettor. It's hard sometimes. He does it with visuals, does it in a good way. I'm going to put him as the last person on my list of smart people you'll probably learn something from.
I just followed him because you sold me with the one pictures, not having to read, and being able to package things to stupider people. So yeah, I'm all in on it. I just gave him a follow. So when I first took a glance at this list, I thought you meant Professor Shine. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, like I can't believe you put him on this list. But then I was like, 42. So no, yeah, I don't have a lot of comment because I didn't know who he was, but I'm in. So I'll next time I'm on, I'll have the review then.
Okay, we will shift gears to our final category that we're going to do on the show today, which is the entertainment category. Now, this doesn't mean you can't gain insight from these people's accounts. I just think that their account is elevated because of entertainment value. There's some other people that you should follow that are more sports specific, and we're going to tweet those out from the Circles Off HQ account this week. So make sure you're following at Circles Off HQ on Twitter. We will tweet out some other people that are not going to be in this episode that are more sports specific. You're looking for NBA? Boom, this person. You're looking for CFB? You go to Brad Powers, but maybe some other people as well. College basketball, we'll do all that. But the entertainment category, how can it not start with Alan Boston at Boston Red 88? For pure entertainment, I don't think you're going to find anything better in the sports betting industry.
I've never been more out on a selection than Boston as entertainment. If I wanted Alex Jones with average college basketball bets mixed in, then yes, I guess I would take some Alan Boston follow. No, it's a hard no for me on him. I understand, like, people would I would check his account every year during the selection show when he was having off a bender that Mount St. Mary's didn't get a 13 seed or something because they had analytics. But no, I don't need to see the conspiracy stuff. I don't need to see why I should have never should have put a needle anywhere near me, or why that Alabama should be -6.5 and it closed to 6.5. So no, I'm out on Boston from entertainment standpoint. I do not follow him. I will not follow him.
All right, Joey Libs, as he likes to call himself.
Joey Libs says no on Boston.
Says no to Alan Boston. All right, he's out on him. At PropDude7 on Twitter, who kind of emerged out of nowhere. I do know the backstory. I don't want to share it because he doesn't want it shared right now. Very small following, less than 1,000 people. Really just tweets stuff that I would tweet myself. that I'm a little bit too scared to tweet sometimes. Listen, you don't want to just build up your entire following of people who troll other people. There is some troll element to this for sure, but there's, you dig deeper through the troll job and you find stuff that makes a lot of sense that you probably didn't know. At PropDude7 goes on the list, Kanish.
I like it. I thought, he only started this account in July of 23. And I thought, like, he had the BetStamp link. He's in Canada. Honestly, I thought you guys knew this guy. Like, I remember I asked you about this like a month ago. I thought he, like, either worked with BetStamp or you guys knew, like, were friends with him or something, because he was always so, yeah, I like his account, though. I think it's a nice, where it's not the same old, like, sizzle and that type of trolling where it's just the same thing on repeat. Mm-hmm. Some creative trolling, get some laughs out of me. Also some decent stuff every once in a while. I like. Yeah, I'm a fan. I like it. I'm a follower. I just didn't know. I like you said. I didn't. Obviously, he doesn't want to share it, but I didn't know like his background or his origin or any of that.
Your intuition is correct. So the first 3 or 4 months of this account, I knew that I knew this person. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know who it was. I'm like, this person is tweeting stuff that's a little bit too close to home for me. It is confirmed I do know this person.
Okay.
Your intuitions
that makes sense.
Are correct. Your intuitions are correct. The next person I don't know, I suspect they may have been on gambling Twitter before.
Yes.
In a different account. And then resurfaced with a new account. At NFL Pinnacle beat. The reason that his name is that is he showed up on Twitter saying that he was going to beat Pinnacle on a bunch of NFL stuff. Now he's just the retired donator, as he has changed his name to. After tracking for a little while, he didn't beat Pinnacle on the NFL. But I could have put this guy in like an NFL specific category, but he's tweeting about more sports nowadays. He has a lot of knowledge, and I just find him to be, he likes to mix it up. Like, he's in every conversation. How's this guy in every conversation on gambling Twitter? I don't understand. He's just everywhere.
He is super active. I don't know why he quit. I was kind of enjoying the theatrics around like him. I don't know if he was trying to do Circa and then he was trying to beat Pinnacle, and like I think it looks like he stopped tracking down about 5 units. I kind of wanted to see it play out. I don't know if he stopped tracking because you legitimately thought he couldn't do it, or like where it came from, why the. So I was enjoying the theatrics there, but I agree he's in the mix a lot, and worth a follow for sure. Yeah, in a lot of different conversations. Totally agree with you that has to be kind of some connected to some past account that kind of created a new account that maybe uses this one as his primary now. So don't know exactly who, but yeah, at least I enjoyed most of his content, and at least I don't know, maybe next season he gives it another go.
Yeah, be NFL bookmaker beater or something like that next year.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. All right. Kirk Evans, who has joined us in studio here for Circles Off a couple times. He's a member of the Hammer Betting Network over at the Board NBA channel, excuse me, at Kirk Evans 0 on Twitter. I knew nothing about Kirk Evans, even though he's very local to us in Toronto. What really originally caught me by surprise with this account, and why I actually respected Kirk in the early going, is that a lot of times there's this new guy that comes along on gambling Twitter, and he gets into it, or they get into it with long-standing members of gambling Twitter, particularly the Seaville members, the gatekeepers, and these guys in Seaville just like make the new guy look like an absolute asshat, like knows nothing what they're talking about. Kirk came in, and he was starting to get into it with people I respect, like Shipper, Diggs, whatever, but he was holding his own. He was holding his own.
With people, the Aussies, going head to head with the Aussies. That's what I drew before, and I said, "Get him, Kirk. Get him, Kirk." There's nothing I love more than seeing those kangaroos back down. So yeah, I agree with you, and he had some bumps along the way. He took a few lumps, starting out in some of the stuff there, but yeah, he wasn't afraid to mix it up. Smart. I actually know him. decent. Well, maybe help him out a little bit doing some stuff. So but I agree. I like Kirk as a follow. He kind of, also not afraid to, a lot of these people have those like blinders on when they first get on. If someone disagrees with you and they're trying to make you look, then you get mad. He was objective about some of those things too in a learning process.
I agree. I think that's what, he's very open-minded. There's some things that people firmly believe, which, listen, you're just going to argue until, you're blue in the face. And that happens, right? But I thought, he immediately established a presence of someone that I wanted to know a little bit more, and I found value in his tweets, and I often find myself messaging him for a lot of NBA stuff nowadays because I think he's really well-versed in it. So Kirk Evans on the list. Very random account here. Could have picked one of many, but I went with at TR_tracker, which, remember, this is the entertainment category only. I
just saw this account the other day.
Okay, I believe
I just followed it the other day, literally probably 2 days ago.
I think the story from this account is that this person subscribed to a bunch of Wager Talk handicappers, lost a bunch of money, and then said, screw this, I'm actually going to pay to keep subscribing to all these handicapping services, and I'm going to track them all. Which he does, and posts every day about. And listen, I'm not an advocate for buying picks unless in some instances it can make sense for people. And listen, if you know what you're getting into, do whatever you want to do with your money. But I do love these accounts that literally devote hours of their day to exposing fraud and schemes in the space, which is why I think this account deserves way more attention.
I agree with you because a lot of I feel like this used to be more prevalent in this, and then I don't know if it's just people got the massive information. The people didn't feel like they could win the battle. There hasn't been a good tracking account like this that was doing it right at scale in a long time. So I agree with you. I love that one of the guys, I think it was like Ralph Michaels or something, was down like he had lost someone's entire bankroll already in like 3 months in 2024. He was down like 120% or something. So yeah, this, and it's actually, a very detailed, high quality tracking account. So yeah, I would agree with you. And I think it's worth a follow for sure.
I just like that, again, someone's that thorough because it reminds me
they do have some people that are up a substantial amount on the, so it's not like he's just highlighting the.
Yeah, he's not cherry picking. He's just he's just laying it all out there. Like, this is what happened, and I think in 2014 or 2015, I did this exact same thing with the Philly Godfathers website, and that's why I'm very partial to this as well.
Okay.
So, anyways, I think you get entertainment value out of there.
So yeah, I mean, most of the about like. He even had, there's a couple people, our boy Teddy Covers and Dave Koken are up on the year. Like, there was a couple, so it's not biased info. It's very, like, as you're saying, it's legitimate. Like, he's giving you the real data. So,
yes. All right. One of my favorite follows on Twitter is at Chuck Goldberg. Just goes by Chuck Goldberg. He's amassed not a big following on Twitter.
We were early adopters of Chuck.
Yeah, we got in on Chuck in the early going. Now, I think he's more interested in growing his TikTok, which is completely fine. He's much bigger there. I think what naturally attracted to me in the first place was these videos he would post on Twitter exposing like TikTok frauds.
Detective Chuck
was actually really good, but from a pure entertainment value, he tweets a lot about soccer. You kind of got to be into soccer because he's a big EPL guy or whatever. But on February 25th, GRP wins, bet Justin Fields to the Colts. And I think my favorite tweet this year was Chuck Goldberg saying, Justin Fields to the Colts, my brother, how did you develop CTE from gambling? I don't know why I laugh so hard when I see this, But it was such a great tweet that just made me laugh. Chuck is a great follow, highly entertaining individual. You don't have to agree or disagree, agree with everything he says.
I remember following Chuck before he had like 1,000 followers on Twitter. I'm telling you that like we should hire this guy to the Hammer if he wants to, but he does definitely focus more, I think, on his TikTok. If you're a TikTok person, I don't have his handle heady, but yeah, he's definitely more active there. But yeah, some of his first Detective Chuck videos were absolutely gold.
Absolutely. Okay, final one in the entertainment category goes by Trav on Twitter at he hate me 2_0. I've been following this account for a long time. I always associated this account with a Seville account. I don't know if it is or not. Here's the difference. I could have put like any of the Seville accounts on this list, right? But I feel with Seville, it's all inside jokes where like someone who's from the outside looking in, they have no idea what's going on. It's just retweeting other people as an inside joke, responding to... There's too many inside jokes that an outsider is not going to understand. This is more of a troll account, not exclusively a troll account, but provides more context to the tweets and the situations that are going on in gambling Twitter as he is roasting other people, which I appreciate. And for someone who is not as nuanced in the gambling Twitter space, you come in and you kind of understand what's going on. So only a couple thousand followers as well here, but at he hate me 2_0, I think is a solid follow.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit heavy on the troll. Like it can get a little bit tight. And again, maybe it's because we've both been around on the Twitter for a long time. So kind of some of that. But I agree. He's not afraid to, like you said, kind of spell it out and call people out in more of a understandable way.
Yes.
So yeah, I would agree with that. And is someone that, yeah, if you're looking for, I like a little bit more humor-based trolling, or like, if I want the trolling, I want to get some good laughs out of it. He's not really in that realm, but definitely isn't afraid to kind of call out some of like the traditional crap out there. So
yeah, you don't want the straight to the point, like you're a fucking goof type of thing. You want like a comedy aspect associated with it.
Right. Give me some theatrics. Give me some entertainment here. So. But I think he's a CPA. He says that in his bio, and it's very CPA-esque. The way he goes about the trolling is definitely, CPA style.
I see what you're saying there. Last one that's not, couldn't put him in a category. I'll just call it like a new specific category. Last one I'll give out on the show. Had the pleasure of meeting him in Vegas at Bet Bash 2. Alfonso, I don't know if it's Straffin or Straffone. I don't know.
Sounds better, but I don't know if
yeah, because what we got 3 flags here, right? We got Costa Rica, US, and Mexico. Straffin, I don't know. You can follow him on Twitter at Straffin, Straffon. If you're just looking for industry news, I think it's the best account. Like he does a really good job of summarizing everything that's going on in the industry. If that's of interest to you, there's no better follower than Alfonso. I don't know what else to say. Really nice guy, but just one easy spot to get all your gambling industry news.
I agree. And it's not like it's not like 30 posts a day. It's like just like kind of like curated gambling industry specific news, maybe a couple posts a day, maybe not even. And I agree. And he always links the article to it. So yeah, I'm not sure he's getting compensated for it, but I appreciate that he does it. So I agree. I think he's a good follow just to get, kind of what's happening in the industry.
All right. That's my list. Some disagreements from Kanish. We will post that list in its entirety to Circles Off HQ. Did you mention
my guy top-down approaching the others?
I actually, you know what? I scrapped him last minute, but he's your guy. Give some... give some rationale.
It's like, I know this guy personally.
Okay.
Like, I know, he lives like an hour away from me.
Okay.
So the fact you scrapped him last minute.
You know what? I'll put him back.
It's just gold.
I went through the criteria at the beginning, right? It's not anything personal, but this guy was just like right on the edge of, and I like bumped him in So you follow him anyways at Top Down Approach on Twitter. Apparently a friend of Kanishi or knows him.
Yeah, I know. He lives. He's a Michigan guy, and so I know him real well. And does some stuff with forecasters now. So helps them out if you're interested in that realm. But scrapped last minute. I will never let him forget that.
Last minute scrap job there, but sure, give him a follow. I mean, we've mentioned it now. You might as well. And I think it's a good account to follow. He was just couldn't quite make that line. You know, he's just almost
that's the story of his life.
That's it, man. There you go. That's why he's top down betting instead of bottom up, right?
Yeah, amen.
Amen. Sports specific follows, like I mentioned, we will tweet out at Circles Off HQ on Twitter. So whether you're looking for NFL, college football, NBA, and again, this is my opinion. So come at me if you disagree. I'm totally fine with it. I can accept it. Put it down in the comments below as well if you disagree. But we're going from best follows to worst. Uncle K, you have the floor. I think I'll probably, I imagine I'll know most of these, but
and I got a couple, a handful. Again, we're not going to the standard, tout scrap on that. The first one I got is a Toronto boy, a good old Toronto boy, a Canadian guy, and it's old Pisky Positivo, who makes me want to blow my brains into smithereens-o with his tweets, who drive me. I have him on mute now. I never followed him, but I've had to put him on mute because somehow his tweets were getting on my For You page too often. He had one that took the cake where it was like, why should you be a sports bettor? And it was like steak dinners, you fly private, like you go. Everyone I know who's sports betting is like some type of like a nerd or troll or like a neurotic, guy like me who's like upset and like looking in front of an on screen and he's talking about it like it's Ocean's 11. Also, I just those people who are like way too positive. There's a lunatic fringe, right? There's 80% of people fall in that, and there's the 10% that are way too negative and the 10% that are way too positive. He's in the lunatic fringe of the too positive. Life is not that great, friends. Like that don't get me wrong. I'm not like, I enjoy living, but everything is not sunshine and rainbows greatest all the time. So yeah, his Twitter, Pisky Positivo. I hope you leave-o at some point because I'm out on Pisky as a follow.
I didn't know where you were going when you said from Toronto. So Pisky's been on Circles Off before. I think his backstory is extremely interesting. It was one of my favorite episodes to do in our old studio as well. I'm going to say this as someone who knows Pisky. I like the guy a lot. I do follow him on Twitter. I understand your point of view. I get it. He always is happy and smiling. I've never seen someone, but in real life, he's like that. I've never seen someone live, but it actually does make me a little bit upset that someone can be that happy permanently. Right? Like,
wait, well, how did this guy get all the happy genes?
Except for a couple times
he lived that way.
He gets banned from sportsbooks here and there, and that makes him unhappy. But Pisky, don't go in firing Bulgarian soccer as your first 3 bets. Right. Not a great idea. Listen to Mr. Limited. Listen to that episode. He'll give you some advice on that. But okay, disagreement. But I'm sure more people or a lot of people will agree with you on your take, as he seemed to have gotten. I've seen the comments recently. His mentions are probably not very good right now.
He's starting to catch some heat.
Yes.
The next one here, I'm going to put this guy in what I would call the AMOC category, except he doesn't work for The Athletic or put out any data. His tweets are just like, and we both know this guy, smart guy, has an edge betting, but his Twitter it is just like watching the grass grow. It's Alex Bartlett. I think it's at Bartlett 157. In a group chat, he's the guy who I just had the Paige Buckers, Caitlin Clark conversation with. He's like tweeting to this maybe group of 3 people on the entire earth that want to hear about like some women's game, about like not even like the pro like of the last week. It'd be like 6 months ago, and he'll be tweeting about like, can't believe this player from South Dakota has a 4.2 EPM score in the fourth quarter. Can you believe that? Of like a women's college basketball team. Who is this for? Who are you talking to? And maybe he's just tweeting it because he couldn't find someone on earth that like wanted to hear this. So Bartlett, he's wrong about Paige Buckers being the better pro prospect than Caitlin Clark, which I had to straighten him out on this week. And his Twitter, absolutely brutal. Has about 3K followers. About 2.8 too many for the content you get on there. So yeah, Bartlett, like the guy personally, don't like his Twitter.
Okay, at Bartlett157 is the account. I will say I'm very partial to this guy. I've never met him. I've actually never kind of like interacted with him outside of Twitter, but I'm very partial to this person because he was a huge advocate for what I was doing for years. So I think he's messaged me on the side before about how he learned a lot about betting from just watching my content and like being able to weed out a bunch of other garbage. So I'm not going to echo what you're saying about Bartlett. I do see the tweets. I see what you're talking about. In fact, all right, I'll just say what I'm going to say now. I didn't even realize I was following him. So that's how little impact his tweets have had on me over the years. And he tweets a lot. So it's not like, I know what you're getting at here. But
yeah, good guy. I will like. I'm in a group chat with. I like talking to him. I send some bets. So like, smart guy. Just horrible tweeter. Some people don't. Some people don't have the great tweet out good stuff.
Got it. All right. Who's next on the Uncle K anti-Twitter list or whatever?
Now we're hitting it hot and heavy. This guy, for a large portion of his career, would have been on the essentials list. Would have been in the top 10 of the essentials, and has gone from essentials to now on the Joey K list. And you know what happened? He decided to stop betting and buy a soccer team in England and get bullied off Twitter by the lunatics in the fan base. And it's Preston Johnson, the sports cheetah, who we both know, we both like, was a tremendous follow the majority of his existence on Twitter. Made his account in April 2012. I'm looking at it right now.
Yep.
Probably for 10 years would have been in the essentials category. Then he cashed in on the NFT craze and decided to buy a soccer team and decided to get those fans very mad at him, where anything he tweets now, you get some wanker from Crawley who's like working at the Crawley gas station following, has Cheetah on alert. And if he tweets anything about how he's not improving the team, he's in his comments saying how never sell the team, hashtag wag me out. We want you out. So I hate to see the downfall of this guy's account. I know financially, everything he's doing well.
Yeah, he's doing
outside of this. Lost some weight, got over, had to be beat cancer, all that. But his Twitter account has unfortunately suffered the fate of the League Two fandom of a town of lunatics.
I hate to say it. I love Preston. Great guy. I have to agree with you. This account has gone off. I mean, it's no longer a gambling Twitter account.
Right.
Although I will say, had I not been following Preston and saw the video of him serving up like pies at the halftime of like a Crawley game, that was maybe one of my favorite Twitter moments of all time. The guy is in attendance at the game, serving up whatever meat pies, I don't know what the hell they're eating over there in the UK at the half, and just the entire fan base is like, have you seen where we are in the standings? Like, enough with the pies, fix the team. Well, like, what is this? This is why we're losing. That was one of my favorite of all time. But since then, I don't know what else to say. I have to agree. This is just...
I honestly, and I think they went in with the best of intentions. I actually had the privilege to even see some of the plans that they had in terms of like a PowerPoint and stuff and what they were going, and the initial season just went so poorly and off the rails and got the fan base so mad. I think the WagMe count is not tweeted since like August of last year. Like it's going on like 8 or 9 months now. They haven't put out anything. They had some order get screwed up too with like the merch and stuff and so like I really do think they went in with the greatest of intent. It just went really, really poorly year one, and it basically made it so, as you're saying, anything that would get posted by him, Wagner, a couple of the other people that were involved with the team, it was like piranhas getting like a where they would just jump in and be like, you're not. Why are we not top of the table? So yeah, basically got shamed off Twitter by the townies and Crawl.
Who hasn't been there before? I watch Welcome to Wrexham because I'm a big Rob McElhaney fan from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So Wrexham moved up to League Two. Crawley Town's in League Two. They're mid-table. They're seventh. Like it's not like they're having this is like kind of a bounce back year for Crawley Town.
Right. They got it back together, but it's almost like the damage was done on the front end where like I don't know, it feels like irreparable like in terms of what they were trying to do from a content standpoint and a fan engagement standpoint. Just kind of it feels like it just went south, and I don't know if they can revive it.
Well, I mean, Wrexham is bringing in Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhaney, and Crawley Town's bringing in Preston Johnson and Logan Matthews as a big. It's a little bit of a difference there, And
yeah, I know. Why couldn't we have the other famous celebrity owner that teams are actually doing well? So yeah, but I agree they're having kind of a bounce back year, but you wouldn't know by the internet persona, but. I will say he was one of the best. I mean, he would tweet like live stuff, award, in his heyday, he was one of the best for sure.
I agree. He honestly, if we did this episode maybe pre-COVID, he would have been on the essentials list. He would have been essentials, but now he's on the shit list, and it is what it is. You got any more on the shit list here for us, Uncle K?
That was the three big ones I had that I wanted out of the box. You know what?
No Fez for you. I'm surprised. I thought you would bury Fez, but I also thought you were going to bury him on that live watch along where he was sweating Houston money line, and you just sat there like fucking with your hands crossed. Like you didn't want to offend the guy. Powers was destroying him.
He doesn't he talks at such a high volume. I had never actually talked to Fez one-on-one before. And I can see why it's like disorientating because he doesn't shut. It was just like constantly, and he wasn't watching like. It was like the game didn't exist. Like he wasn't even watching the game. I was like thrown off because I'm sweating this Longwood, which is going terribly. He didn't care about any of that. He had like no interest in discussing.
Well, that's because he was actively managing the game. Obviously, he wasn't watching. He was actively managing. No, honestly, I gained so much respect for Brad Powers on that day. He went to like GOAT status for me with that. He was very cordial for a lot of it, but he called him out on some stuff. It was actually it was a really entertaining listen all around. I have nothing against Fez, by the way, for the people who do, but I thought it was just very funny to listen to.
And I don't mind, actually, Fez's Twitter doesn't really bother me. That it also gives me like I'll give him the stuff for tweeting out some of you said never tweet out the fact that he tweets out those like huge money lines before the game. Hey. Like it's given me some great content to listen to. I had one more.
I just want to jump in really quick. I disagree with you on the Twitter account. I mentioned I
don't like his Twitter.
When I was at Bet Bash last year on the panel with Ravel or whatever, Fezzik was next to me, and I said it right to his face. Like every now and then, you tweet out something where I'm like, is this guy have an aneurysm when he tweeted this out? I don't understand. In the NFL, I often say like, an NFL team, pay me to stand on the sidelines. I'll tell you when to go for it, I'll basically just tell you when your coach is being an idiot. Probably 9 times out of 10 times out of 10, probably. I feel like I could do the same for Fezzik. Like if he clicked tweet and the tweets got filtered to me, I would go back to him and be like, buddy, you don't want to put this out. You don't want to put Purdue minus 8,000 out into the world. Like there's no upside for you on this one. And there's at least one of those per week, at least.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. But anyways, the floor is yours right now.
The last one was a gift to you because I think we've discussed this account before. It would be the at Playmaker David guy, who who I think you've got, who just is like the worst, like it's just the worst trolling imaginable. Like it's just not fun. Like
that's like the boys got I don't get that, by the way.
Balls, like the whole
Zach, can you fill me in on what that is, please?
No,
it's like the Zilbert
some
thing.
People that yeah.
It's the Zilbert thing.
Yeah, it's something to do with that. Yeah,
they're running the same bit for fucking, like, dude, it stopped being funny like 18 months ago, and they're still running the same bit and using it like on a daily basis. It's like, come on. This is painstaking. Like, this is the worst level of it's like I mentioned like Sizzle earlier, where it's like, dude, you're still retweeting like Jason what's his name from there. It's like, dude, you've been running the same bit for a decade. Come on, give me something fresh here. And he's one of those guys where it's like the most mindless level trolling that it's just not, makes me want my brain want to break, because it's like, dude, this isn't funny and this bit is so played out.
This account confuses me quite a bit. I know who this is. There's no, I mean, people would be able to find out because he has 4-time World Series of Poker champion. At Playmaker David is his Twitter account. I know who this is. I know what he's done over his career. The really weird thing is, to me, some days this guy tweets at me like I'm his worst enemy, and some days he just like responds to tweets like he's my friend. But he doesn't follow me on Twitter. So like, what is this guy like actively looking at my tweets every day? But I don't understand it. I'm with you, man. The act is played out. Whenever I see the I just might as well mute that word. Boys, yes. B-O-Z with the exclamation points. I don't know what's going on there. I've never been in on that joke, nor do I care about it, honestly. But yeah, I mean, if I were in your shoes, Kanish, I probably would have put that account on my list as well. So I'm glad you said it. And
that one, it's just like this. I mean, I'm all for a Zilbo troll, but like, dude, it's like the same thing. Like, come on, give me something a little fresh there to go with that. Then, so yeah, I knew you would like that one.
I like a good troll account, and I don't even care if the troll account comes after me. Like, right. I like Norm Benning as an example. Guy rips me all the time. But
I actually know Norm. Like,
of course,
I know Top Down Approach.
Yeah,
it's funny. I remember one day you saying, "He's like, you don't know all these people that troll me all the time." But yeah, I know.
But maybe I don't know. I don't want to get into the troll accounts on Twitter are too much. It's funny because then you find out like, oh yeah, I worked with this guy for like 3 years on stuff. I don't know. Like he made like 6 figures of just tailing my bets. Like, but he's gonna read me out on. Anyways, I don't want to get into too much of that. But all right, I think that's pretty solid for lists. We got the stuff to follow, and then the stuff not to follow. Maybe actively block or mute, whatever you want to do with yourself. Kanish, did you come prepared today with a plus EV or minus EV that isn't some like soup and sandwich combo at your like local deli or whatever? I don't remember what you did last time. It was like some sort of
tropical smoothie. I got 2 DMs from people that were like, "Bro, though you nailed it. Like, those are amazing." Mm-hmm. Like the tropical
things that never happened for 1,000 on Jeopardy right here.
I'll post it out. I get them all the time. I probably go to tropical smoothie 4 times a week. I'm still reaping the EV from those.
Are they plus EV because you get them 4 times a week?
I mean, maybe I've lost my edge a little bit, but I'm still grinding out the bolts here.
All right, so I'm going to take it.
They know me on a first-name basis at that tropical smoothie, too.
That doesn't surprise me. That you are pretty loud. I mean, do you have to give your name when you order? Like a Starbucks type of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so of course they know your name if you're going there.
And even when I DoorDash, they like somebody write me a nice note that says like, hey, hope you're having a good night. So, yeah. Listen, the girls at that tropical smoothie, plus EV, move the week for sure. Still good. Still good to whatever, those tropical smoothies, they still have them, but I have another one.
Oh, you did come prepared with another one.
I did come prepared. I'll let you guys, but
you actually know that this is a segment now on the show. Yeah, you apparently have listened to a bunch of shows in the past, but you never make it to the end, apparently. We're not,
Yeah, I feel like maybe just fast forwarded through the plus EV. Anytime Johnny's talking plus EV move of the week, I must hit the fast forward button. So yeah, but I came prepared this week.
All right, let's hear
but
it.
you got you guys all everybody got one?
Well, I mean, I go with whatever. I got something to go over. Zach, do you have something or
No.
Okay, Zach's out on plus EV minus EV this week. He's been bored by this whole episode. He's been yawning. I can see whenever you talk, Kanish, Zach's just yawning in the corner.
I know. Yeah, he's been out. He's been sticking Jason on us on Hit the Books too. So I was like,
how's that been, by the way?
I mean, I know. Listen, I tried to get this guy. What was it? Katie or Carly was trying. I was trying to hook him up for a while while he was, and now this is how he pays me back. He's I got to deal with Jason on Mondays right now.
He's got his shirt over his face like he's really embarrassed right now. I don't know what's happening here. I have zero clue.
One of Zach's old flames jumped on one of the live, hit the button, was like commenting on it, like "Hi Zach" on one of the comment.
No. Let me clarify. Is this slander? No. That was not anything.
That was the plus EV
that was not anything.
You know she's into you when she's
anything.
watching Hit the Books with me and Powers.
It's true. If this is true and she's in the chat for a show that you're just producing,
she was in
you're
the
not,
chat
then
and said "Hi Zach."
Okay, look, let me put some respect on my name here. She DM'd me. And I was like, and then I posted a story about us doing something and had the link to us doing the show, the mini putt, with me and Kanish. And she went to that.
Got it.
Let's just bury it and move on, please. Thanks.
By the way, we're the Hammer. We're much smaller than Barstool. That's like the understatement of the millennium. Barstool, massive brand. I get a message from World Putting League guy today that says Barstool got Nico for an interview with Big Cat. Nico is the foot putter. Remember the foot putter on World Putting League? Barstool's all in on putting now. All of a sudden,
I showed you that.
Yeah, I saw that they were reacting to, but they got him in. They got an interview.
They made a hype video for him.
Wow.
Yeah,
this putting thing is blowing up, and when it does, I just want to say that I was in on the putting on the ground. We have a World Putting League ball right there in the studio, in on the ground floor. Uncle K, you were a part of that, man. Those live watch-alongs of you just roasting.
Honestly, and it was I'm surprised because in terms of a live betting and a short event, it was like how during COVID I got really into watching the Sims of not Sims of but like NBA
pornography.
Yeah. But me and Joey Isaacs, it'd be like 1 o'clock. It'd be like, oh, it's time to watch Heat Lakers, and it was like not even two. It was like the computer playing each other, but you could bet it. It was over in like an hour. Like there was and like the putting league is like, man, I can like bet each hole. Like it's a quick flash. Like I'm instant. It's giving me like rapid. I mean, I think it's got potential.
During COVID, when those were happening. I reached out to a contact of mine at a sportsbook that I used to consult for, which was going to go reset the board to 0, unfortunately. I couldn't make it to 4 weeks, but I reached out to a contact there, and I'm like, how are you guys making the live lines on, how are you making the lines on these Madden simulations? Like, what are you guys doing or whatever? He's like, yeah, we just, we got like a couple Xboxes going. These are the settings we use. We simulate them. I'm like, oh, okay. Do you know what I did? I got like 6 Xboxes hooked up with different people, same settings. There was a huge edge on that. Because if you ran more simulations than the odds makers themselves were running, but then like that didn't last long.
It didn't last, but there was a huge edge in those sims for a minute.
Also, you watch enough of those Madden games, and you see the craziest shit happen.
Yeah.
Like, I saw a player run backwards for 99 yards and took a safety. It was messed up. It was like the game glitched. People were losing it in the chat. They're like, this, if the fix is in or whatever. And, like, I'm sure the traders, they're like, what the hell is going on? We're going to get, like, 1 million messages about... those were the days, man. COVID, those were the days. You got a... So your plus EV was what? You lost me.
I'm gonna go. Just this is gonna be very Joey CPA, Joey Ted did the taxes here. Hey, this is gonna sound very basic, but and this might be strictly, I don't know the Canadian system as well, but like if you don't have some portion of your like with current rates, the amount of money, and I'm not to like humble brag, the amount of money I made that to do absolutely nothing last year, like you should not have any money that's not earning like 3 or 4% right now. Like it's literally the way the system is set. Like get yourself a high yield. I saw even today a tweet from somebody like Vanguard or something has like a 4%, zero fees, zero transaction limits. Like you can right now, if you in very simple search, have your like even checking account earning 3 or 4% to do absolutely nothing. So if you haven't done that, don't be like I've always banked with this and do the like. Go somewhere. It's all FDIC insured. Like you can get right now. You should be at least earning to match with inflation on your money to do absolutely nothing. Whether you got $1,000 or whether you got 10 million, that it's just like free money that's being given away right now that not enough people are either aware of or taking advantage of because they don't want to change their banking habits.
Yep, totally agree with that. That's a great one, especially this time of year, tax season, but any time of year really. There's no reason to be sitting on money that's earning you zero unless you're going to use that money like right away and you don't want to tie it up for a long period of time. But 100% agree. Joey CPA with the plus EV tip there. For me, I was at the Rogers Center for Jay's home opener on Monday. They have this thing in the Rogers Center now, which is called Grab and Go. It's not exclusive to Toronto. They've apparently been putting these in across stadiums all across North America. This is the first time that I've seen it. If you go to a ballpark, football game, whatever sporting event, and you know that there's a grab and go at the stadium itself, you're an idiot if you don't use it. All you do is you walk into the liquor area, you scan your credit card. Just all you do is scan your credit card. As you walk in, you just pick up the beer out of the fridge and you walk out and you get auto billed for the beer. There's people waiting for lines that are like around the stadium. They're waiting 30 minutes to get 2 beers. Just walk in the grab and go. And I'm just there. And it's the easiest, most seamless process. I walk out and there's people that are just lined up around the corner. The secret's going to get out. But the grab and goes at sporting events, whoever invented that guy should be put in the sports betting Hall of Fame. I don't know what Spanky's putting in at Bet Bash this year, but that guy put him in because he's saving a lot of time for the sports fans out there.
I'll add to yours where I was at the Wings game Sunday. They had mobile ordering, very similar thing, but like where you could just do it like how you mobile order at like a typical place and go pick it up, but for the concession line, where instead of waiting in the line, you mobile order on your phone from the seat, and then it tells you when it's ready, and you just go grab it off the counter. So instead of missing half the period, where so you're like you can just go boom, mobile order, pick it up. So I agree, grab and go or mobile order. It's like the scenario where you would want that. It's like at a sporting event of where I don't want to, miss the game or have to go be in the 30-person line where these suckers. So no, I'm totally with you.
Yeah. Minus EV though, going to a Red Wings game.
Yeah. Well, depends. I mean, they might be in the playoffs now. You know what? If they end up getting a spot, I'll come down to Detroit for a playoff game with you. We'll watch a Red Wings.
I love it. Yeah,
they did.
I'm in.
That game, was it the Sabres game that you went to?
It was.
Okay, yeah, I bet the over in that game. There was like 4 goals in the first 10 minutes of the game, and they never scored again.
Yeah.
The
Wings, they literally scored 3 goals in the first 7 minutes, then went into
shut it down.
Like a left-wing lock defensive shell for the next 45 minutes to not try and give up a goal on that.
Oh, man.
Also, I don't if you guys are going to know, for the Wings, there was 2 jerseys in my section.
Oh.
And it was old number 24. And I guarantee I was going to start there. Bob Probert. Do you guys know?
Oh, of course, man. One of the greatest enforcers in NHL history.
2, not 1, but 2. Mind you, he died 15 years ago now. Big drug and alcohol problem, type of guy.
Yeah.
Still in this city, people loved him.
Yes.
Not one, but two Bob Probert jerseys in my section. People that were unrelated that had, old number 24 Bob Probert on there.
Well, that would have been good in episode number 124, but we're on 149.
Yeah. If you doubled it minus that, take one episode off, it would have been perfect. But that's the only jersey number now I have any recollection of. So
Bob Probert, absolute legend, as is Uncle K. Thank you, Joey Knish, for joining us here on Circles Off this week. For everyone who enjoyed this episode, thank you, by the way, for everyone who got us over the 6,000 followers hump or subscribers here on YouTube. But don't stop there. If you're not subbed here, you enjoy the content, make sure you smash that subscription button below. Make sure you like the video as well. And obviously, we're here for your comments as well. YouTube loves comments. If you're listening in audio form, please rate and review 5 stars. Johnny will be back from his stub toe next week. This has been Circles Off, episode number 149, right here, part of the Hammer Betting Network, and presented by Pinnacle Sportsbook.